All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, if you know anything about me, I have recently been doing a lot of things on anti-aging. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of get into regarding anti-aging today is for people that are middle-aged or older to learn maybe more about technology. Because I think a lot of middle-aged people, they kind of ignore a lot of things that they shouldn't be ignoring. They also, I think, a lot of middle aged people, and when I say middle aged, I mean 40, 50, 60, or whatever, is and up, is they don't really want to take the time out to learn about technology, but they want to do a lot of things that the youth are doing, as far as maybe on their phone, say for instance, or on their computer. They just are not willing to take the time out to learn these things, which actually a lot of these things are not as complicated as you think they are. And I run into a lot of different age people that are older, let's say, baby boomers even as well. And I get it's not going to be easy sometimes to learn technology. But a lot of them want to start thinking more youthful. And they want to be able to do things without always having to bother, say, their family members or their friends or their grandchildren or their nieces or their nephews or their kids. They always kind of feel like a pain in the ass and they start to feel old. Even if they're not even that old. I have a lot of family members that are around 50 and older. But a lot of them actually, I should say, actually from 45 to 55. And they're not very good with technology. And if you talk to them, it's almost like to a certain degree they've given up. I mean, they're kind of like, well, I can't even keep up with any of these things. I barely know how to use my phone. I don't even know how to use an app. All I know how to do is text and email, right? And let's face it, we've all been emailing each other for long periods of time. I mean, we're well over 2 decades, most likely, of doing that. And we've had the iPhone or a lot of these smartphones for well over a decade as well. So if you are that age, you've had enough time to learn about them. But if you really do want to start feeling younger, I tell people start with technology because a lot of it's going to start making you feel better. I can assure you, especially if you've never used certain things, like even a GPS is a game changer. And I do know a lot of people that still barely know how to use, a GPS, which is kind of amazing to me because once you learn how to learn or use a GPS, you can go anywhere you want to go. You can kind of do whatever you want to do. Think about it. It's in your hand, especially if you use a cell phone. Or you can have a GPS, obviously, in your car as well. But just starting with something like that, also kind of, social media, I think a lot of people frown upon it, especially older people. I'm here to tell you, if you haven't tried social media, go check it out. Especially if you got a lot of family members and friends that you've kind of lost touch with. Because, you can use it in any way you want. But a lot of older people, I should say, are middle-aged, like, I don't want anybody to know my business. That's fine. You can go on social media. That does not mean you have to post anything. But if you are interested in seeing maybe your family, friends, colleagues, or whatever the hell they're up to, or pictures, or grandchildren, or nieces and nephews again, that's a great place to interact with them instead of just kind of falling off the face of the earth. I think all these things, again, are going to make you feel more youthful and also make you feel part of, a group again. Because I also think a lot of times when it comes to technology, you start to slide out of, say, technology, and then you start to kind of exclude yourself. And you get excluded without even people knowing this. Like if you don't know how to use a string text, let's say, for instance, or just text in general, I'm just saying. But most people know how to text. But if you don't know how to string text or do certain things like that, people aren't going to incorporate you into these things. So all these conversations and photos may be shared and all this information, and you're sitting on the outs. You have no idea what's going on. And you've probably been through that if you're not kind of within the technology realm, okay? And if it's really hard, I'm telling you right now, even if you're having a problem with getting a newer phone because you're intimidated. I'll tell you right now, my father has a flip phone still. He kind of refuses to get, an iPhone or whatever type of phone, any type of smartphone. And what was funny is he originally, a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, he was one of the first guys to have a phone because he was so hip. He loved it. So he used to always be on top of technology with phones, but as soon as they became kind of smartphones, then he didn't want to have anything to do with technology. Same with computers. And I think I could speak for a lot of people out there. They may have a computer, and they may have a phone too. They just don't know how to use it correctly. So, I'm telling a lot of people, really just pay attention to this. And if you have, you have aunts, uncles, moms, dads, older brothers or whatever, and they're having a problem with technology, step in and help them. Don't just do it for them all the time. Of course, we're all going to need help regarding certain things, but instead of always doing it for them, teach them and keep showing them. It's not going to usually click the first few times, but you're going to have to be a little more patient. But if you eventually do teach them, they're going to bother you less for help. Like I always say, my mother, I will say this to officially wrap it up, nothing really regarding technology throughout her life. But she is one of the savviest I know right now for her age. Not necessarily on a computer, but she's really good on an iPad and she's great on an iPhone, which shocks me. Because, again, my father was the one who was always hip with technology and all these different things. And my mother wasn't. And now on the flip side, she does everything on her phone, which has made things so much easier for me and my kids and everyone to communicate with her because we don't live in the same state. I think that's what kind of forced her to do it. But I also think her being involved with all that's going on within social media or all these things, being able to follow me, let's say on YouTube or my podcast and all these different types of things, we stayed connected, So anyways, I just want to do a podcast on this, If you're having problems with technology, I know a lot of times you're like, I don't want to have anything to do. It's too confusing. It's too aggravating. But if you are looking to maybe, start kind of living a less complicated life, you just may want to learn about technology regardless of what age you are. All right? Got any questions or comments, please feel free to hit me up. I'm at rich@richcelenza.com.